So, Leah, the first question that I actually want to ask you is what operation did you go through, just to give people kind of general understanding of what we're going to be discussing here today?
So I had a gastric bypass. So basically, your esophagus like bypasses your stomach to make a smaller pouch, and it goes directly into your small intestine.
All right, I never actually understood what this was. I thought it
There's
was,
all different types. You see, there's like a gastric band that is like a band basically around your tummy, but like you'd hear an awful lot of complications with them.
yeah,
And
that's
it's
the
like a
one I've
foreign
heard. I've
object.
heard people talking about that one.
That's
Um,
kind of like, I suppose people used to get that like long ago, but like, they're like, you'd always hear people always have troubles with them, or they have to get like stuff added in and taken out because the restriction might be too heavy or too little. I don't know. My surgeon kind of didn't recommend that anyway for me.
so yours is just actually bypassing the stomach.
Yeah, so there's a gastric sleeve as well. I'm not 100% on the gastric sleeve, but that like they actually remove part of your tummy. So like with a gastric sleeve, there's like you can lose up to 50 to 70% of your body weight, and with a gastric bypass, you can lose up to 80% of the excess weight. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I was obviously nearly 22 stone at my heaviest, and I was recommended that just for more long term and keeping the weight off.
Yeah. So yours, just to be clear, actually just bypasses the stomach straight away.
Yeah, so like with so I basically have a pouch, but like my pouch definitely is after stretching a small bit.
Yeah.
It's like anything, it can grow again.
Yeah.
But with a gastric bypass, then they could have issues with like you're like absorbing foods and all nutrients and stuff. So just have to be careful and things like that
Yeah.
as well. So
That's what I was
it's
gonna
severe,
ask.
like.
So like the kind of normal functions of a stomach, do they still work? Do you still, like, let's say, develop stomach acid and be able to absorb food properly, or is it a little bit different?
Yeah, you can. And actually, I suffer with IBS and things years. And being honest, after surgery, my symptoms kind of went all over the place. I was a bit worse.
Mm.
Um, I actually take like Nexium or Meprozoles, like stomach
Yeah.
protectors. I was on them for like 12 months after surgery. But I've actually realized I'm lactose intolerant, and I reckon I always was. But then
Yeah.
after surgery, it's just after making it more known to me, I suppose. But no, like I'm getting my bloods and all the time, everything is fine. There is chances of obviously not like getting the nutrients and things like that ain't taken in properly. So you're on vitamins for life after a gastric bypass, like
Yeah.
B12, multivitamin, vitamin D, like calcium and stuff for your bones, because you need it to absorb vitamins and stuff. So
What way do you
yeah,
take
there's
them? Do you take them orally, or do you have to inject them, or what way does that work?
being honest, I was actually off all medication because my stomach was just kind of a bit all over the place. But I reckon that was just all the recovery, because basically your stomach is going through trauma after surgery.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like focusing now. I get a B12 injection every 3 months, the last probably year. I'm only back on a vitamin D supplement this week, but I actually was on a shot dosage once a week, a high dosage, because my vitamin D was very low. But that's because I haven't been taking any vitamins since surgery.
Yeah.
So like I'm mindful now of that, because like my family does osteoporosis and things like that, so I'd be prone to that. Like all the women in my family, the older women have it. So
Yeah.
obviously with a gastric bypass, I'm more prone to these things. So I kind of have to, get on top of it now. So I'm supposed to take, say, multivitamin and calcium, vitamin D in the morning, in the afternoon, and then there's one more in the evening, probably the B12, but I get that injected now, so I don't take that.
All right.
But as I said, I want to get back into get my vitamins now, so I'll probably end up taking more now, because I want to do a bit of research and get more stuff into me. So
Yeah.
I feel my stomach is a bit able now again.
Just what was I going to ask there? How was the process after this? So when you go in, you get the operation, they're not directly just going and moving body fat. It's going to make your stomach smaller so that you eat less and then the body fat comes down over time. So how did that process feel? What was the difference there?
Like, I suppose initially, I suppose, like, I was overweight since I was a young child. I battled, so like since 6 years old I kind of started gaining weight. I would have always overate food, like just normal food. I just never felt full satisfied. I could just keep eating and eating. So food was always a big issue and something I couldn't control from a young age. I went through like dietitians when I was like early teens, put on milkshake diets, the whole lot, and they actually never helped. Being honest, I don't think I ever lost weight through any of them like programs that I was put on.
Yeah.
I then, I suppose, went through like teens. You start drinking and I started driving, having takeaways. That's when my weight probably I started gaining more weight again.
Yeah.
So like around 17, I was probably like 17 stone. And I'm 5 foot, so I'm quite small. So carrying the weight isn't easy. Like, and you know what, I was kind of used to because I always had weight on me. And then I went down and got pregnant at 21. I didn't find I was pregnant till I was 26 weeks. And after I had Shay, I ended up in intensive care. So I was in an induced coma. I had septicemia. I had an infection called Pseudomonas in my C-section, and I was put on a full ventilator because my lungs were failing. So after that, that's when like shit hit the fan basically. I had severe postnatal depression, severe post-traumatic stress, and food was like my turn too. So I actually gained 6 stone in 10 months. So I obviously lost weight, I go to intensive care, but I ended up, like when I was due Shay, I was, I think, 18 and a half stone, and I was down to nearly 16 stone after I've come out of intensive care. But I ballooned up to nearly 22 stone like by the following year. So that was like a lot to deal with. I wasn't out a whole lot in the first year after having Shay because like I was just not able. My wound was open for 6 months and I was just dealing with my own trauma. I was going to therapy and things, and I wasn't kind of out, but I suppose I was kind of coming back to myself towards 12-month mark, my body was kind of after healing, and that's when I kind of realized, Jesus, I could feel the extra weight. Like I couldn't walk to the shop without being literally sweating. I now had a little active baby who was flying around the place, and I just genuinely wasn't able. Little things like cleaning my house was literally like I was after running a marathon, and I was just really, really hard. So I went down then to like, I joined Slim World that when Shay was one, and I'd lose like a stone or two and I would just gain it back. And then I went back to PT, and being honest, I like my weight never stopped me going to PTs and stuff, because I'm like, I'm here for a reason, I'm trying, and I would try, and I'd always lose 2-3 stone, and that would it stopped then. Because food always took over. My body would only lose so much, and then it was like, give me back what I want. So when Shay was 3, I was after doing like 2 hard years of dieting and really exercising to try to lose, and I was getting nowhere. I was up and down the same few stone. So I went to my GP and I was like, look, I'm finished. I'm done living like this. I don't know what I need or what I want, but I know I need help. I physically can't do it on my own. And at that stage, I think bariatric surgery was kind of coming around on social media and things. Like I would have followed people like in.
When was this? What year was it?
2017 when I went to my GP. So I would have followed girls. I actually had my Instagram page was a Slim World account. For starting off. And so I actually have the page since 2017 as well, I'm sure. But I remember just kind of looking, and I was like, God, they look unbelievable, I was like, I was just fascinated by their journeys, I kind of got hooked on like people's journeys, as you do, because you want to change so much yourself, and like, how do they do it? And then the more I looked, I was like, right, they had weight loss surgery, and I was kind of like, oh, what's that, because it's not talked about. It wasn't talked about in Ireland. Like, people get something done, it's like hush hush, like.
Yeah. You're probably the
Um,
first person I've come across that actually openly talks about this. That's why I wanted to ask you and talk about it.
well, there's so many accounts now since I
Yeah.
started, but when I started, I used to actually bounce off American girls and English girls
Mm.
because I kind of had no one to bounce off, and like I would join. So, well, let's go back a bit now. So, like when I went to my GP, they referred me to Loughlinstown in Dublin to the weight management clinic. You're not guaranteed weight loss surgery if you go to them because it's a weight management program.
Mm.
So you have to follow their guidelines, go through therapists. They put you on basically like, it's like dietitian and fitness program through the public health system, I suppose.
Mm.
And they go through everything and they will tell you if you're a candidate for weight loss surgery. So I waited 2 years to get an appointment up there. I went up in March 2019, and like I was up when I went there, I got very, very overwhelmed. I was a young girl, mid-20s, and I was in a room with men and women a lot older than me, and also probably 10 stone heavier than me. We had all these wide frame doors, extra large chairs. And I remember driving home to Cork after the meeting. My friend came with me, and I was just like, I don't need this at all. I was like, I don't need it. I can do it. Because I got a fright, because I think the way they do it, it is a group meeting, but I just felt, I don't know, I just didn't like the way they'd done the whole thing. I'd rather more personal. I
Yeah.
suppose, especially when you wait like that, I wouldn't have been open about how much I weighed to tell everyone. And they don't ask you them questions. They're only kind of guiding you what is the process. I just felt, obviously, because the wait list is so high, they kind of get people in and people like get turned off like I did.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I kept in contact with them, but I was like, no, I'll go home, I'll try again. So it was like that was March 2019. And in the summer then I was sitting there. It was a lovely day. I worked as an SNA and I was off the summer, so I was child minding, and like I was just sitting there and like, I should be down the beach, and I was literally sweating while just sitting, and that was just like my turning point again, like to be like, this is it. I definitely need something, because here I am, I'm still the same weight, and nothing's happening. So I started researching surgery abroad. Gastric bypass in Cork in the bonds is €22,000. So didn't have €22,000. So that was never going to be an option. And I don't know if I mentioned with Loughlinstown, they told me I could be waiting 6 to 8 years for bariatric surgery on the public waiting list. And I said I'd be dead by then. Like dead, massive heart attack. Like, I don't know, I wasn't going to survive. Like, if I did, it'd be a miracle. So like I started researching abroad. I came across a clinic in Lithuania. So that's where I went. I went to Nord Bariatric in Kaunas. Wherever I was going to stay in Europe, because I felt they'd have the same level of like standard of care, surely. We're all in the European Union.
Yeah.
Like Turkey was a lot cheaper, but at the time there wasn't many people going, and it's just not something I wanted to. I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable going. But now I'm seeing a lot of people's journeys and it's absolutely fine. But for me, it was just Turkey or Lithuania, and it was more expensive. Like it was like 6,150 for surgery, and then my flights and accommodation was like around like just over 7 grand. But like, the minute I got there, then like it was very overwhelming again. Obviously, the last time I had surgery, like I was in intensive care, so I was bringing back loads of memories. My mum came with me, and it was surreal. Like my mum was telling me, you don't have to do it, but it wasn't about it. You don't have to do it. I have to do something. I had to change, and I've done everything. So this is the next step, whether it's life or death. I was actually terrified. But I spoke to my surgeon when I went over, and he was like, look, it's a very worthwhile surgery. It can save your life and can change your life, but you have to do the work. Like, we're going to go in and do the surgery. We'll reduce the capacity of your stomach, but you have to do the work. And like, when someone says that, I was kind of like, if you're taking away your stomach, like obviously it's going to work. But I've now learned, there's more to it. So After surgery, like I was a bit kind of sicky, like nausea and things, obviously they like have to move your liver to get at your stomach, and you have to reduce your liver fat then as well before you have surgery, because like your liver can bleed and fall apart if it's less fatty or something like that. So it's like dangerous. So after surgery, I was literally like in shock probably. I was on liquids, so like chicken broth, soup and things like that. So I literally was in Lithuania for like 4 days after surgery. I flew home. I just wanted to get home to my bed and I get back to my new normal. So I survived on like chicken and soup. Like I make my own soup, just carrots and chicken blended. Then I went on to like soft foods, like so I was on even like Weetabix, only like 2 weeks post-op, like a half Weetabix would take me half an hour to eat.
Holy shit.
Literally, like I'd say my calorie intake is probably about 500 calories a day.
Holy shit.
For the first probably month.
So they're just to understand, like they don't remove any body fat. You then, when you eat less food, it starts to come down. So when you start this, when you're having that soup and you're having that half a Weetabix, you're still at the same size that you were.
Yeah, so I'm still me. I'm still the same body, but what is now is my stomach is like tiny. It has stretched now, but at the start it's really small. So you're on a liquid diet, then you want mushy foods. So you build yourself up to solids again. So you're basically like a newborn. So like I actually would have been on like baby pear yogurts initially after surgery. So like protein yogurts. Protein then is key. Like you need protein. Obviously, you're eating very little. So like I was aiming for 60 grams a day, which was actually very hard. Because like a bottle of water, I'd struggle with that for a day. Like even the smaller bottles, because I couldn't gulp. I used only have to take little sips. If I gulped, it would hurt. Tiny little spoons of food, like it's actually insane. So like that's hard, and then you actually miss the whole thing of actually eating and chewing and the sensation of food. And especially like I loved food, so that was all gone. And like, but the thing is, I felt full. So when I had my bit, like my few spoons, I felt full. Well, on liquids, it was hard because I used to measure my food. I used to have like 200 grams. But I felt when you're having liquids, I didn't get the fullness, if that makes sense. It's like I kind of really missed food. I still felt empty. But then when I started eating, that's when I realized the restriction was there, So as I was going through the process of eating, I felt full, and I like connected to my brain, it's like I full stop.
The interesting thing is, like, so when you just kept eating for years and you kept adding and adding and adding, eating, you never felt full. Now you do. So like, does that nearly mean that it wasn't a psychological thing? Like psychologically you weren't like not feeling full. You know what I mean? Like it's more of a physical thing, because now that you've changed your stomach, the psychological has matched. Do you know what I mean? Your stomach has smaller.
Like that's
your
it.
brain
Like,
wasn't still telling you I need more and more and more and more and more. Yeah, actually
like
stopped and
I
started to feel full.
feel, yeah, like I think a lot of people, don't understand the concept. I don't expect people to understand. And a lot of people don't, because they mightn't have had someone close, someone who struggled their weight, or there's a lot more to it. It's grand for someone, they eat less, move more, but it's actually, I don't care what anyone says. Like, I've lived in my body since I'm born, I know how I felt. Like something wasn't right. And now I know. And that's why like I'm so open about it, because I've struggled my whole life, and now this surgery has changed my life. It's like it rebooted me. Like I spoke to people, not everyone feels the same, but I don't know, because I went through a lot of therapy and said, I've done a lot. There was no trauma in my childhood or nothing that led me to be who I was, I had a very normal upbringing, come very normal family. So nothing happened to me. Which things happen people, and it triggers things. So nothing happened, and I only after my son, like that happened. But that I feel now was for a reason for me to like, Leah, you change your life now and get in top control of the weight, or you continue living your life as overweight. And being honest, I was used to being overweight. I would have gladly and just probably carried on living, but I had no quality of life, you know. But I feel like it has done something. It's like now my whole body works together. Like, I like the whole process. The first year is probably the hardest because you're going through the foods and, you know, you're building up your tolerance again and, you know, all that. And we've been in lockdown and like the gyms were closed. Like, I lost 9.5 stone in a year, literally from food.
Mm.
And like, sure, we've been locked in, so I wasn't even out. Sure, we weren't allowed outside the door.
Yeah.
5 kilometers.
That makes it even
So,
harder because you can't really escape it. You can't go and exercise or go to
but
work or whatever. You're going to be stuck thinking about it.
I know, and now I feel like I was actually kept at home and I actually dealt with everything going on.
Yeah.
I actually made me stronger because I could have been out doing whatever. Because like there's things like transfer addiction after surgery as well. So like drink and drugs, and you know, if you have something that you love is taken away, you can't have it. Like, I can drink, you know, better than I can eat. So you can understand how people would you know, it's like any addiction.
Yeah, so you're addicted to
Like,
the kind of food, and like if you've had just every time you feel something, you just go and eat a lot of food. Now
you
you
can't
can't
do that.
do that, but you can drink the alcohol and you can't take the drugs.
You know, people, and it happens, people. But like, that's like during the lockdown. I even say I'm the happiest I've ever been, and I have been outside the door.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people struggled, and like I just felt I was at home. I was actually out of work in the end. I was kind of actually delighted because I was tired, and you know, I got to actually really listen to my body, give it what I needed, and I dealt with the emotions, you know. So after about a year, then I got down to, I think it was around 11 stone, no, 10 and a half, and I was left then with excess skin and things. So like, my excess skin wasn't that bad, but it was grand. Like winter, you know, trying a long top and a jeans, you can hide it. But summertime, then like wearing a t-shirt, like I had very like flabby, like literally like very flabby arms.
Yeah.
If I was like reaching to get anything, you'd see all the excess skin, my stomach, my legs, everything. But like, you know, I accepted it because it's part of my journey. Like,
Was that ever
but
hard? Were you ever kind of like judging yourself negatively during that phase, or were you just always like it was part of the process, it has to happen, like there was no issues there? Like,
you know, I actually, like, I wasn't hard myself. Obviously, I wanted it gone, but it is part of the journey. And that's another thing, like, people, when they lose the weight, it's like now you're left with another burden as such, I suppose. But like, you know, in the end of the day, it's stepping stones. That was only 1 year, you know. I'm like 1 year of my life, and you know, like eventually I get to where I want to be, like, and you have to accept it. And like, I was very open. Like, if I struggled, like I was saying, I'll go back to therapy and things if I felt I needed it. But thank God I didn't, because I think, you know, I suppose I'm sharing my journey on Instagram, and like sometimes I'm kind of like, what am I doing? You know, I like my whole life is on the internet. But I think that has helped me to grow as well, and it's making me stronger. And you know, to show people you can change. Like, if you met me 2 years ago, I am the same person, but I'm not. You know, I'm like the person I was always meant to be now. It's just insane. It's just something that's after coming out of me that I can't stop now. Like,
yeah. It's interesting, like when you're sharing your story, like obviously you've got quite a big following on social media. Is everyone coming to you asking about the bypass? Do you get a lot of questions of people like asking, like, I want to do this? Do you ever think like some people, you look at them and go, like, maybe you don't need this, or from talking to them or engaging with them, you're kind of like, you know, not everybody needs to go and do this. Some people can just maybe lose it over time with general kind of like you're going into being a PT, exercise and nutrition, but then some people might be in a position where you were, where it's your only option, you have to go and do it. Like, do you know what I mean? Can you feel that from talking to people, or?
Oh yeah, like I 100%, like, like people will obviously see me on social media and like, whoa, she looks great, amazing. But people also have to realize this is something I've been dealing with since I was 6 years old. And this is something that I've really been dealing with since my son was born in 2014. So it's taken me 8 years to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something I jumped into.
Yeah.
Surgery isn't for everyone, and that's just the God honest truth. You know, you need to deal with your own head and your life. It can help and it can change, but it isn't for everyone. But like, hand to my heart, if someone said, like, I've tried everything, I've genuinely tried, and if you have tried, you know, then if it can, if something you want to do, then off you go and do it, because you've only one life and you are the one in control and you decide your own life.
Yeah.
But I think,
it's important for people to know, I think, that you did the exercise, you did the diet, you did the therapy, you literally done everything. Because some people might just skip all those steps and go, I'm just gonna go get surgery. Maybe they only put the weight on in the space of 3 years. They haven't had all that lifelong struggle. They put the weight on in 3 years. And if they went and tried a coach and tried nutrition and tried therapy, they could probably overcome that. Like, the surgery
even
is not,
half
not
it,
an
like you
easy way
lose.
out. You know what I mean? Like, you went through a lot of pain with it, a lot of hardship. It wasn't easy. Like, you know what I mean? So potentially, you know, try the stuff that you tried first if you're going to go and do this. Like, you know what I mean?
But you still have to go on and do it afterwards, you know.
Yeah, so you're
So
still
like,
going to have to go through it at some point.
because like people, like I get loads of messages. I can't keep up, being honest, anymore. Like, my message requests are full, and I try help, but I'm only one person, you know, and it's just not possible. That's why I kind of just try to do overall videos now, and I'm not very good at it. Like, my Instagram grew from like 2,000 last year to like 32,000 in just over a year.
Shit, just in a year.
Yeah, so like I actually done like a 1 year post-op video 2020, so October 2020, and that's when it all went just this way up, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I am getting a lot of questions, and I do like try help people, but I can't help everyone. But I do come on and do posts here and there. But I always just say that, make sure, you know, you've tried everything. And yeah, like, I've dealt with this my whole life, and this is what I needed, and it has, and it is changing my life daily. But now, like, I'm over 2 years post-op, like, and like, I could graze all day, like, I can eat all the shit in the world still. I don't, like, you can get dumping syndrome, you see, as well, like high sugar and high carbs. You can get like palpitations, vomit, diarrhea. I actually don't get that, thank God. The worst I've got is a bit of, like, I used to kind of get sick sometimes if the food got lodged, like chicken and stuff would be tough, you know, to kind of digest. But I'm fine now because I have to take my time. But if I eat like very high carbs or something, I get like just my energy drains. I have to go sleep. Like, yeah, I just, like, it just takes the life out of me. It's weird. Yeah, and so that's kind of worst I'd get to see. So I'm very lucky. I can have a very, you know, I love food still to this day. Like, I'm always cooking. I love pasta and creams and all that still. But like, I'm like, my portion size is so small, I can afford to have a bit of extra calories in my dinner, because what I eat now is like a bowl, like half a bowl of food. That's like my capacity.
So what would you then, like, what would your diet be like on a day to day? Like,
so in the mornings, I normally have like a bowl of porridge, so half a bowl of porridge with maybe strawberries or something, and maybe a bit of honey. See, when I'm out and about, I could be picking, which is wrong, but I try always kind of be mindful. So like, I'd eat then for lunch, maybe like salads, like chicken Caesar. I might have a tuna salad. I might have a slice of toast with like ham or chicken, a wrap. I'd eat probably like 5 times a day. So I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I could snack. But I nearly have to stop myself, you know, because I could feel like a snack all day. Like, I could sit down and eat a bag of crisps, 3 bags of crisps, but I couldn't eat my full dinner, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where you kind of have to be on the ball. Like, you know, I still go for a high protein diet. So I try to get between 80 and 100 grams a day now. So I try.
If you eat like 3 packets of crisps when you're snacking, do you feel full then, or do you feel like you could still keep eating and you just have to stop yourself? You
Stop
actually
myself
consciously go,
because
you know, I need to
they're
stop eating this.
they're called slider foods.
Yeah.
So slider foods are anything that like basically are like turned to liquid in your mouth. So like biscuits, cakes, all the bad stuff, they literally dissolve to nothing and they don't take up much room in your belly and they're high calories. Whereas if you go eating, like if I was have say roast chicken now, my potatoes and veg, I'd struggle to eat that. I'd have to take my time, you know.
What do you
Could
take?
take me 40
Yes,
minutes to eat my dinner.
yeah, but then the crisps you could just eat straight away. Like,
Yeah. Mm. I
maybe,
like I still don't eat as much as I would have, but I
but you could
still
if
like
you
stop
wanted to.
myself. Yeah, I still stop myself.
Yeah.
Like my motto now is like everything like in moderation.
Mm.
Like I remember I kind of got a bit kind of like I'm going back on a diet, but I'm like, what am I telling myself going on a diet for? It was nearly like triggering the old me. I couldn't stop thinking about food then again, which
Mm.
I didn't want. So now I just don't think about anything. I do what I need to do. Like I'm going back to the gym now. I want to start gaining muscle because I would have lost a lot of muscle with the
Mm.
drastic weight loss. So I'm gonna try like I like eat like bacon medallions and have like boiled eggs ready in the fridge that I can just make up quickly, you know,
Yeah.
snack on protein rather than going for a cracker, you know.
Yeah.
Protein yogurts. I'm lactose intolerant, so I take like lactose enzymes from Pollen Bar to help me with them. You just have to be mindful. You still and like protein keeps you fuller for longer. I just like a high protein diet, you know, for me, like
If someone comes to you today, now you're qualified as a coach, you plan on, as you were saying to me before this, maybe going into coaching in September. Someone comes to you in September and they're like, I'm 17 stone, haven't really tried anything. This is my first time coming to coaching. What kind of processes would you be looking at there to start with? Because I want to like, I'm sure that you're a million percent not going to tell people jump straight to surgery. That's why you went and qualified as a coach to help people. So
yeah, like
I'm
I
just
so
thinking like
sort
people might come to you thinking, I'll go and talk to her, she's just going to tell me to get surgery. But you're obviously
yeah,
unqualified as a coach to do it that way. So if someone comes to you
yeah.
and haven't tried anything else, they're just like, I want to come and learn. Like, what kind of would you be doing with these people?
So like for me, like I was an SNA, so I turned into a full time carer of my grandparents during the pandemic, and then I was like, you know what? Now I seen there was like a fitness course, and I was like, it's probably no harm, I'm on a lifestyle change. If I never work in it, it's something I would have learned for myself, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I went back and done that last April, and I finished in July. So my plan was to go out in January, but I had skin removal surgery in August, and it took me a few months after that because I got the tummy tuck and arms, and I was just, recovering fully. I just wasn't able, and
Yeah.
then life just gets in the way.
Mm.
So like I plan on going out. I'm very nervous because I'm only a little fish, like,
Yeah.
but I feel
We're all like
I'd
that.
have I feel like I have a lot to offer, and I will have a lot to offer as I'll be able to support my clients, through the process.
Mm.
Like I've obviously went through a lot of PTs and just felt like they never understood me.
Mm.
So I feel for me going out into the fitness world, like surgery will be the last thing on the list in it, first of all. It'll be actually controlling your mind and
Mm.
actually changing habits.
Yeah.
And if someone now just change one thing a week, and if they're just being more active, that would suit me.
Yeah.
Because it's overwhelming. It's, people don't know where to go, they don't know where to start. And I think too much change is too much on someone.
That's the thing, the understanding that you have, because I always find when you get coaches that annoys the heck out of me, that are in shape their whole life, they don't understand where someone like you is coming from. So for you, just advising someone to go, hey, do you know what? You've never done any exercise. How about we just go for 3 walks a week? That could be
Yeah.
a massive change. Where the person that's been in shape their whole life could get someone that was in your position, that was sweating, just sitting there, and go, you have to do 5 sessions a week and you have to do loads of cardio and loads of strength training. And they're probably sitting there going, whoa, this is overwhelming. And then do it for a week and quit. Where if you develop,
Yeah,
they're saying one habit a week, it could be much more beneficial to the person.
I think like that's gonna be my motto. You know, will people agree with me? But I think if I can help someone get out and actually get active, first of all, that's brilliant.
Mm.
You know, then they can maybe start working on their food because, you know, once you start getting more active, the food, you know, you kind of want to eat healthy, I think.
Yeah,
I
100%.
think I do anyway. But I think exercise is probably number one. It's just getting moving, and then you're right. You know, I feel better. Then you have to change the food because in the end of the day, if you eat a shit diet, you're sluggish, and
Yeah.
that's bottom line. You know,
Mm.
you need your water. You need to eat just healthy. So yeah, I don't know what way I'm going to go, but I think I'm just going to just try to help people understand. You know, look, if they are addicted to food, well, you need to sort that as well. You know, there is help there. You know, there's therapy, and you know, try it. Like, you never know. And you have to be kind to yourself as well. Like, you know,
Mm.
you have to do work on yourself. Like I would have kind of watched a lot of like YouTube videos, and like I got mad for like podcasts, but like just reading positive quotes, you know, telling yourself. Like, but in the end of the day, like, you are the only person that can change your life. Like,
Yeah.
there's no one going to do it for you.
Mm. That's a very good place to start. If you're only starting out as a coach and you kind of understand already that it's about changing small habits, that's a great start, because some coaches out there just throw people straight into the deep end, and it pushes them away more than anything else, to be honest. Like, people will do these extreme diets and extreme exercise for 2 weeks, and then their body's just going to be in shock. They're like, I can't
And
feel
you're
do this
probably
anymore.
going to be broke up. I used to be broke up, couldn't walk up and down the stairs, or, you
Yeah.
know, couldn't even
Yeah.
sit in the toilet, eating courgettes. And if I think back now.
It's ridiculous. I'm sure you've probably got some advice that just was not in relation to where you were at with your life. Like, you know what I mean? It was probably okay for the coach, and it probably works for some people, but it definitely didn't work
Not for
for you.
everyone.
Yeah. That's probably the reason that you were rebounding and coming out of. It's probably part of the reason why you were kind of going, like, you know, you go to a coach, you'd lose 2 stone, and you found you put it back
Mm,
on afterwards. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
You had someone that has your knowledge now asking you to change just one simple habit a week. Like, let's go for a walk, let's do a bit of this, let's try and change one meal or add in some protein. It might have helped you to.
Yeah, I know. I genuinely think now, like, yeah, there's a lot of things I probably, but then I'm like, I did try. So I thought I tried, you know, I was getting
Think,
information
like,
off.
you tried 100%, but did the coach give you the best information? Do you know what I mean? Did the person
Yeah.
give you the best chance at success? That's the thing you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's where it goes down to. That's why there's so many different coaches, because there's someone for everyone,
Yeah.
you know, and there's room for everyone too. But yeah, I'm just gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but just try it. Just, yeah, as you said, just help and support, get into their head, and, you know, small little changes they can tap away.
Yeah, that's honestly the best thing you can do with anyone from any point of view. Like, even like, it's amazing. Like, you'll see it. I'm probably looking now, going, right, we're in a great position now to be able to help people and change people. But when I started in this 10 years ago, I look back and I'm like, I thought I was in a great position to help people back then. But I never really focused on diet too much. Like, any coaches back then that would have offered people diet advice was like, give them it was either 1,000 calories or a 1,500 calorie diet. That's what you were given, and it was like one piece of paper with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and all
Mm,
accumulated to 1,000 calories or 1,500 calories. And if you went into a coach in 2011 and said, I want to lose weight, they just hand you one of them. If you're a female and you're a little bit
yeah.
lighter, you'd probably get the 1,000. If you're a male, a little bit heavier, you'd probably get the 1,500. And that was all they gave you. And I didn't understand it much back then, but I, at the same time, didn't feel it was right and people would stick to it. So I just never really focused too much on food with people. I was more into just back then teaching classes and stuff like that, training people, getting people exercising. But then actually, in after a year, one of my friends came to me, and he was probably in a similar position to you at the start. Lad kind of suffered with weight his whole life, like, and me and him used to train together. So like, we go running all the time. And I was a little bit, I was kind of overweight as well as a teenager, and coming into my, early 20s when I started coaching, and but I wasn't maybe as much weight on me as him. And I could go out and do running, let's say 5 days a week. I never really focused on diet too much back then. I'd be like, if I just go running 5 days a week, I'll start to lose weight because I played football and I was like, whenever I play football, I lost weight. Whenever I stopped playing football, I put on weight. So that was my motto. And then he would come with me for 5 days, and then the weekend we'd take the weekend off. Then Monday I'd ring him, be like, "You come and train?" He'd be like, "Nah, fuck off, I'm not going now. What the fuck are you pressuring me for now?" And I'm like, "Whoa." So like after like a year going, or like years of going through this, one day he's like, "I need to change. Like I need to do something." And I was like, "This is the first time." Because obviously I was only young as well. I wasn't experienced. So this is the first time I actually asked him. I was like, "Why do you do that? Like, why when I ring you on a Monday after training the whole previous week and everything's positive, we leave each other on Friday and you're like, I can't wait for Monday. Then Monday you tell me to fuck off." Like I'm like, what goes on there? Like what's the point? Like, and he said that he would train with me Monday to Friday, feel great, eat a bit better, and then the weekend he'd have like fries and takeaways and stuff like that. So when it hit Monday, he'd feel shit about himself and he'd be like, "I can't do this. I go out there and I train with him Monday to Friday. I'm wasting my time because I'm gonna waste it all on the weekends." So literally, what I done was said to him, "Okay, how about you stop judging yourself that way? We train 5 days, and I don't give a shit what you eat on the weekend. Eat whatever you want. I don't care. Nobody cares. You're still gonna train on Monday." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I can do that, I suppose." So done that for a few months, didn't change anything in his diet. In 3 months, he lost 3 stone. And then after losing the 3 stone, then grew a bit of confidence around food and stuff like that. And then went, "Oh, maybe I could actually change a little bit." And then with him, exactly like I wasn't experienced or knew what I was doing here. This was just like kind of going on intuition, going like, "Oh, we try this, we try that." And we went, "Okay, so you have a fry on a Saturday morning. What do you have?" "Oh, I'd have like 6 slices of toast and, rashers and sausages and blah, blah." I was like, "Okay, can we have the same fry, but with like 2 slices of toast instead of 6?" "Yeah, I'll try that." Yeah. Try that for a couple of weeks. Just kept losing weight. Okay, this is great. Then what do you have? Takeaway was, I'll probably have 2 takeaways in the weekend. Okay, can we have one instead? And then we just kept plugging away. And he ended up losing like 7.5 stone in 11 months and changed his whole life around then. But like that's like what you're talking about, going into helping people because you've been there and experienced that. But with him, I didn't have that experience. We just kind of went with it. And then that kind of taught me how to kind of help people for the rest of my then career. Like, you know what I mean? I know that I
like
can't just
being
throw
gentle,
everything
like
to them. Yeah, exactly.
just being kind.
It worked. It worked so much. Like, and that's what you're going to have to offer people because you're going to understand them and kind of go, if someone threw all this at me, all this change, I probably wouldn't last. So let's throw some small changes in and see where we can go. Like,
and even like food wise, like I think people need to like, even my mom said when we were kids, like, they weren't told anything about, nutrition. Sit down, eat your dinner with a sliced pan, like,
yeah.
Eat your food, don't get off the table.
But the other thing though, back then though, they probably got a lot more nutrients in. There's more like people have stews and cuddles and more veg. Where I think in our generation, we kind of the more takeaways came. There's loads every takeaway on every corner now, and I'd say they unconsciously ate a little bit better. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, they would have. Like my grandparents never got a takeaway to the door. Like they're 81, like never got a delivery to the door. You wouldn't dream of it. It's mad.
Amazing, isn't it? Like,
but my mom, like we would have dinners, but proper dinners, like, but eat like you can't leave the table, you eat it all, and we'd have like chicken, poppies, whatever, and like a load of bread, like. But they thought you're doing good by giving you good food, but obviously too much. But I think like people need to kind of realize, it's grand getting a diet off someone. But I think you need to actually do the work. If you're given the calories, you need to actually learn how to, because you're not going with you forever.
Yeah.
So if you're going out Saturday, right, what can I get here? You have to make mindful choices. Like, so I think like you have to do it both. Like
people don't really think about food as a weekly whole. They don't go like, I'm eating great Monday to Friday, they're thinking, and I've been in a deficit Monday to Friday, but Saturday, Sunday, they could go way over their purpose, like way over. And as a weekly whole, that just brings the whole week into then maybe a maintenance or even a surplus. So that's the reason that they're either not losing weight or gaining weight, and they think that they're doing great. So it's kind of like understanding your whole lifestyle. It's not just going like, oh, Monday to Friday. It's just your whole lifestyle. You're trying to change things a little bit at a time. If you're going to go out and have a few drinks on Saturday, maybe save up some calories during the week, eat 100 calories less during the week each day, get a little bit more exercise in on the Saturday, eat a smaller lunch on the Saturday, do a bit of exercise on the Sunday. just kind of like mindful little things that you can do to kind of help yourself. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
that's, yeah, if you can get people, as you said, one little small step at a time, just keep focusing on that and keep kind of pushing through. Like, be a great place to
Yeah,
start. I'm sure it'll
you
help a
get
lot of
there
people.
eventually.
Where are you based? In Cork, is it?
Yeah, I'm Cork City.
Oh, so loads of people around there you can kind of impact and help along the way. Like,
Yeah, because like there's like smaller kind of gyms and stuff. I feel like I probably need to go to a more personal place. Like I
mm,
train in District, which is a big facility, basically. Like it's
mm,
unreal. I love it. But I think I get lost somewhere like that, and especially with COVID, you're nearly like a cleaner and shit. These days.
yeah,
Like I'm gonna have to be kind of mindful where I kind of look for a job. I'm gonna have to just ask, like I'm gonna ask, like, because I'm gonna be starting from the bottom. I want to learn, I want to be able to shadow people and see how they do it and get the best start, like,
mm,
because I will be starting from the bottom, like, and obviously I think like most of my clients will probably be kind of weight loss anyway and things, and
yeah,
I'll be able to, like, if someone came for you, I want to, I don't know, build muscle and stuff, I'd probably be like, stay away from me a while,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll work in that eventually because I plan on do my own little, I've little goals myself that I kind of want to, build
That'll come
muscle
with
and
your personal experience. Like your personal experience right now has been the weight loss factor.
yeah,
You're wanting to build muscle yourself. So as you do that more, you'll learn more about that and then be able to
yeah.
help people more in that aspect as well. Like,
It's a knock-on effect, like, everything is just coming together, like,
mm,
and it's only been like 2.5 years, like my whole life has changed. It's
yeah,
absolutely crazy.
yeah. It's good. It's great that you're going to kind of going into helping people. You understand what you've been through, and now you want to help people with
I
their
I
diet.
hope I like it. I hope I
Yeah,
like. I'd say I
I'm sure
will
you will.
like.
I'm sure you will, definitely.
Yeah.
Is there anything else kind of that you would like to say or advise people before we're going to leave this? If someone was in your position now today, is there anything that, like, advice you'd like to give them to kind of close this off?
And I suppose, like, I kind of already said it really, but
Yeah,
like, obviously, weight loss surgery is it's not an easy option, Um, but if you have genuinely tried and actually have tried and put the work in and, reached out for, like, PTs and help with your food and exercise and things, and if you're not losing it, then it can change your life, but it doesn't solve everything. I've actually seen people gain back weight with this surgery.
mm,
So it just goes to show, like, I'll have to be, that's why I even went to do PT, because I said, I still love food. I need to be active and mindful for the rest of my life. I'm only 30. Like, I could gain weight in 10 years, and the weight back in 10 years
yeah, yeah,
if I don't keep going the way I'm going.
yeah,
So I know that for me, I exercise, I eat good. I know though what I'm free of diets, I'm free of feeling trapped. Like I can now, like, just go, I'm having that there now, and I don't feel guilty about it. I'm
mm,
not on a diet every Monday morning that I used to start. Just feel free.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, it's important for people to know that you still need to make the changes no matter what. Like,
Oh yeah.
you're gonna have to change your mind, you're gonna have to change your daily habits eventually. The surgery is only kind of one part of the journey. Everything else still comes
What
after.
the surgery does, like, you're given a fine window, like you're given 12 months really, because that's when you're really, like, restricted, because obviously your stomach heals and it can grow again.
Mm,
Like, I have seen people, like, people have come to me, I've only lost 2-3 stone, and that's very disheartening for someone, because you could lose that with just diet and exercise,
yeah.
and they were hoping to lose probably, 9 to 10 stone.
Mm,
But like, you must really look at, all right, like, I'm not eating, but are you eating the right food?
mm,
Are you actually eating potatoes when you should
yeah.
be eating boiled eggs? Do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You say you're only eating 500 calories, but you're eating 5 calories of shit.
Yeah.
Your body can't survive on that. You
And
have
they're
to
probably
you have
not
to
eating
feed your
500.
body.
They're
You
definitely
have
not
to
eating
fuel it.
500 calories either. They're probably doing like what you were saying there. If you ate the crisps and you can continue to eat them, you don't feel full. They're probably continuing to do that. It's hard. Like,
And like,
if you have
they're probably
eaten so
eating,
much
they're probably
all
eating
the
their
time,
dinners. they're probably eating their dinners, but eating the shit too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like it's one of those things that I'm sure that the psychological part is a massive part. Like if you've eaten this way and just you're used to eating, that's your like that's what occupies your brain. Then you find out while even after you've had the surgery that if you keep eating crisps, you can keep eating them. You know what I mean? So that habit is
Yeah, and
there,
you
you're
know
gonna do that.
that you said that there now. There's actually a thing, a proven link then as well with women with ADHD and obesity.
Yeah.
And I'm guaranteed anyway 100% ADHD. But like ADHD with women as well is very hard to diagnose.
Yeah.
And it's actually in my family, and I actually was going to reach out to like UCC in Cork and see if they wanted to do some sort of research, because someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And it kind of, when they said it to me, it made sense. So it was like part of it when women with ADHD, like with food addictions, things like that, and you were saying like what to tell you could be eating and eating, and it's nothing is telling you to stop.
Yeah. It's
Because
just
as you said,
occupying your mind.
it's like it's so strange, which that could be a story for another day. But
Yeah.
there could be an underlying, thing. Like my mom even said it, like 100% I have something. Since I was a child, always on, but I'd be
Yeah.
always on the go, but sure, always gaining weight. But there was something with my brain that's not balanced with how I should have been. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just interesting because there could be things that, just like obviously if you can't lose weight and you get your bloods checked, get, full checkups, there could be other things going on as well. That's
Yeah.
probably number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of processes to come before you reach that point, and
Yeah.
a lot of things to try out before you get there. And then there's going to be a lot of things you still have to try after. That's going to
Yeah.
important for people to know, because I'm sure there's people that are in a hard place and they think this is the easy way out. Everything.
They're looking at pictures, before and after. Whoa, I had skin removal, like that was obviously like intense, like, I'm marking cut to that.
Yeah.
But like I was ready for it. Like I don't think anything now would knock me because my head is such a good place,
Yeah.
But obviously we all have our good and bad days, we're all human. But this up here controls everything.
Yeah. It's good to know, just for people to kind of understand that there's still hardship to come with it. It's not an easy way out. So we'll leave it there. Thanks a lot for kind of coming on and sharing your story. I'm sure it'll help at least one person to kind of feel better or change their lifestyle or do something. So thanks a lot for coming on and offering us this information.
No bother. More than happy.